Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and I'm here with my guys. Hey, Damon, how are you today?
I'm good, Sybil. How are you? Hey, Cam.
Hey Damon, hey Sybil, how's everybody doing?
Hey, Cam, we're good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Uh,
What's
the,
going on with you?
ma'am, I am doing okay. I've been doing a lot
It
of
looks
writing
like you're living
recently.
really well.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm in
yeah,
my
yeah.
Armani silk top, in my Beverly Hills
Men
villa
don't wear
over.
tops. Can I just tell you that, Cam? You've lived with women too long.
Hey,
Vocabulary just
I'm
quite.
sorry. You guys don't wear tops.
You're right. Uh,
yeah, but
Blouse.
definitely, I hope you have on bottoms.
In today's cultural climate, Damon, who knows?
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Hey, Damon, happy belated birthday. How was the birthday celebration?
It was a good weekend. I got a chance to work and tell some jokes and be around people and laugh. And my wife traveled with me, so it was a really good weekend. We did a road trip. We drove to Toledo, and then we drove from Toledo to Indianapolis, and
Ooh,
then we drove from Indianapolis home the night of, and we'll probably get around to why we did that some point during entertainment.
Oh,
okay.
all right, cool. There's our entertainment
And
section.
Damon, that's a lot of driving, especially in the winter. But that's not something that is foreign to you, is it?
Well, I try not to do more than 4 hours, so each drive was about 3 hours. So it wasn't bad. We by the time we were having music and singing, and then on the way home we had a good long talk. We never do that. We just be
Ooh.
yeah. So it was cool. Yeah. So everything is good.
Oh,
Nice.
nice, nice. And so the birthday, did you get anything that you can talk about on the air?
I got exactly what you cannot talk about on the air,
All right.
and that's why I'm so happy.
Very nice, young man. Okay. And we know, especially if it was the birthday. Okay. Uh
Hey,
those gifts usually only come around once or twice a year.
there
Uh
you go. Come around.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. Cameron, what's going on with you? We just talked about your top and your your living conditions, but
Your lair.
yeah, thank you. What's going on?
I'm writing this Black History play for Western Illinois University. It's called Rise, Ryse. Rise is the name of the main character. She's a black woman, uh, and she's the president of this like Black Student Union, and they've sort of fallen into being a bit of a party club now.
Hmm.
Uh, but there's this new board member who's being sworn in who gets their money from big oil, and they want them out, but they lack the manpower to do so. So in their confusion, they get visited by a bunch of civil rights leaders who sort
Oh,
of counsel
wow.
them on what to do. So it's a way of bringing all of their philosophies into the present,
Hmm.
and seeing where it is that we can go from there.
That sounds impressive, and it's for Black History Month, so you're a couple of weeks away, and you're going to see it produced at Western Illinois.
Yeah. So I guess in a way, I am the playwright, the producer, and probably the director of this too. So we'll see how it goes.
We shall see. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
I mean, I love the creative process, and I think that your involvement in so many facets of this, I think that's great. Congratulations. Or we
Thank you very
shouldn't say
much.
congratulations. We should say break a leg, I guess, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Break a leg. We'll do that.
Is there a part in there for a funny guy or a former radio girl who still likes to step on the stage every once in a while?
You know what? There is actually. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
let us know if we need to, dust off our acting skills and come on down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
get
fly
that
you all
chocolate
down
over.
to Macomb. Yep.
What things can we expect as pay for this?
Uh,
Thank you, David. Thanks for laughing there, David, because for a
Yeah.
second I thought Cam was going to go, oh, God.
So there's no money involved. You just get a bunch of nice tops.
Blouses. Okay.
All right, gentlemen, let's talk about what's going on in the world. Today was an important day for the Biden administration. The president and vice president went down to Atlanta to talk about voting rights and the legislation, and he came with it. According to many people, they felt that he gave a spirited and impactful speech and called for a limited exception to the Senate filibuster to pass federal voting rights legislation. And he is following through on the demands of a lot of his fellow Democrats and civil rights advocates to take a more aggressive stance on preserving ballot access. Of course, the limitation to the ballot, the voter suppression and all of this has run rampant through Republican-led states in our country, especially over the last year, since the big lie came into effect. And the former president said that the election was wrought and fraught with voter fraud. But at any rate, there are two bills that are up, and the president said that in his forceful plea, he says he wants to alter the Senate rules whichever way they need to be changed in order to bypass the Republican opposition to the two voting rights bill for the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Act. And he initially resisted these rules changes. You'll remember, I mean, it's been taking him a long time to get here. But now he says that he's with it and let the majority prevail.
It probably takes him a long time to get everywhere.
Damon, I got to tell you, I was waiting all day for this speech, and so there's a lot of build up, and will he or won't he, Cam, and the speech was. There were moments. I think there was a speech that he gave not too long ago that I thought was more forceful in the tone of his voice. But he did come and say, we got to do what we got to do in order to get this bill passed. The vice president also spoke, and she led, of course, was a part of the president's force of vote in the voting rights effort. She delivered remarks warning the country should not be deceived into thinking that this new GOP-led state voter laws are normal. And so she spoke over the past few years. We've seen so many anti-voter laws. There's a danger of becoming accustomed to these laws, a danger of adjusting to these laws as they are normal. As though they are normal. And so she spoke out too. A lot of folks were there. Reverend Al, the King family was there, but there were a number of people who were not, namely Stacey Abrams from Atlanta, who is running as governor of Georgia, running for that position for the second time. And of course, she is the founder of a voting rights organization. And so she cited a scheduling conflict. Mm-hmm. I don't know anybody that would not have understood if she couldn't make that particular event because the president was coming to town and talking about something that is right up her alley, right? So she didn't show up. Also, our friends from Black Voters Matter told me that they would not be there, and they said that they're tired. They're just sick and tired of the president not really coming across with this kind of conversation. That he could have stayed at home. He could have stayed in D.C. and had the same speech in front of the Senate. But be that as it may, he did go. He did say that he doesn't want to have a fight so much with the Democrats. Hello, Joe Manchin. But he did note that there are 16 Republican members of the Senate, who were in favor of extending the Voting Rights Act in 2006 during the Bush administration, that are now amongst those that are so steadfast against voting rights. So he said, those are the folks we need to go after. And so I guess he's extending a little grace to Joe Manchin in hopes that they can come to some sort of agreement in the carve out of the filibuster.
It's all a lot to take in.
It is.
And I wonder, was it a silent protest for Stacey Abrams and the Black voters organizations not coming, or are they just tired, like literally tired?
I think it was a protest of sorts to indicate that they're not impressed with what they've seen so far. And as I noted in the article that will be in tomorrow's newsletter, NBC News pointed out of the president's last 100 speeches on a number of different things, 60 plus, like 66 of those conversations, of those speeches had to do with coronavirus. 39 and somewhere in the 30s, upper 30s, had to do with his packages, such as the Build Back Better, the infrastructure, all of that. 2 of the speeches had to do with voting rights. Yep. So in light of that, like, dude, miss me with this,
Yeah.
So
especially
I
since
get it.
They're adamantly working to undermine the political process and to steer it in their favor. He's dropping the ball on that for sure.
Yeah. So he's trying to get back in there. He did all the right things. He went to the King Center. They laid wreaths at the tombs of Dr. King and Mrs. Coretta Scott King. They went to Ebenezer. Then they came and did the speech and called for the carve out. We'll see where this goes, because the majority leader of the Senate says, by the 17th, which is the federal holiday for Dr. King, out on Dr. King, we're going to have a vote, one, up or down. And so we'll see what happens. So keep your fingers crossed, I guess, ladies and gentlemen. And good luck to you, Mr. President. I don't, I feel a lot like those organizations that did not show up. I don't know what you can say. It's like, it's like the boyfriend keeps saying, I'm sorry, I promise I'll do better next time, and I've had enough.
Yeah, it almost feels like in this early part of his first term, he's already like a lame duck president.
Yeah.
He's not asserting himself now that he has the majority or at least the equality in the Senate. He's not ramming through his initiatives like he should be doing. Of course, the coronavirus is a major impactful thing around the world, but you can believe Putin ain't being distracted by the vaccine when he's trying to get something done. Okay. So I'm not saying we should be Putin-like, but he needs to be more assertive while he has the opportunity, because after midterms, if he loses that mandate, he's just a figurehead at this point.
Yeah, he's a lame duck.
Putin-esque, if you will.
He's gonna and you need to pass this if you're gonna get people out to vote, because otherwise the Republican suppression laws are just gonna keep people home, and they're gonna say, if you weren't willing to fight hard enough, why bother?
Yeah, and if their initiatives take place, then that bodes well for them in the next presidential election.
So yeah,
he's not thinking that far here, because he's not gonna run again. He don't want this job again.
Okay, so Annette Brady on Facebook says, is the alternative better? No, obviously it's not. And so we have to do what we have to do in order to, but I still think it's worth voicing our frustration. Let's put it that way. It's like, once again, I'll use the boyfriend analogy. And say, I've had enough. I don't want to go forward with this. Or maybe I just want to just voice my displeasure with this. And he looks at you and goes, what else you got?
And that's the thing, to say it's the alternative better. That's not what we're saying. We're saying he needs to be held accountable while he has an opportunity to make a difference. So if we just are passive about it now that he's in, just because he's a better choice than Trump, then we're going to end up right back in Trumpville, and quicker and easier for them if we don't stand on him right now, to be honest.
Yeah. And because it's going to be Trump 2.0 in the Senate and the House if people don't get out there and vote those clowns out. And I use that affectionately, but true, those clowns out of office and continue to keep the Democratic majority in the House as well as the Senate. This came down this afternoon. The man who cops say killed young Dolph, the rapper, is in custody after a manhunt. 23-year-old Justin Johnson was taken in by U.S. Marshals in Memphis, where he's wanted on a lot of charges, including first-degree murder. They announced that he was wanted for murdering young Dolph, and he went on social media to announce plans to turn himself in, which he did not do. And he was picked up today, and so he will face charges in the murder of young Dolph. The Justin Johnson is a Memphis area rapper, goes by the name Straight Drop, and he appears to have shot music video back in the day at the same home where the cops believe where the cops retrieved what they believe is the getaway car that was used the day that young Dolph was shot and killed. So
You said he's got other warrants too?
yeah. He has they said a slew of warrants and a slew of charges against him. So
wow. Okay.
And this is just boggling my mind. Are you guys following the charges of rape against Trey Songz? Have you
I know he had allegations.
Yeah.
I thought, but they're
women are alleging that he has raped them. This happened right around New Year's Eve. He was trending on social media after a series of allegations went viral. Dylan Gonzalez, who is a former UNLV basketball player, went on Twitter, who, along with her twin sister, left the team to pursue music and what have you. She wrote that Trey Songz is a rapist. This is what she wrote on New Year's Eve day. Lord, forgive me. I couldn't hold that another year. See you in 2022. Well, today, she has released an official statement clarifying her remarks about Trey Songz, and she posted on social media. And she said, love, strength, and hope to all who are victims of his sexual assault. She said he is a rapist, and he has not responded. She has not given a lot of details about her allegations, but it's getting worse because apparently they are expecting other women to come forward in support of this, as well as in coming forward to tell their stories.
Yeah, we time to take these allegations seriously.
For sure.
Thanks, Trey.
Damon, I we're shaking our heads and it's crazy.
Well, I mean, to be honest, no man should ever force himself on a woman in any circumstances whatsoever. No one should ever be forced upon male or female. But it boggles my mind that a R&B sex symbol is out here being accused for rape and carrying out sexual assault. It's too easy for you to get some
How easy is it? Yes.
If 12 women lined up to marry Flavor Flav, how the hell is Trey Songz in need of, we know rape
forcing himself, allegedly.
Yeah, it's another dynamic behind sexual assault, So I'm trying to find some humor here because that's my lane here, but there's nothing funny about it. And if he did it, join Robert.
Yeah. Damon, did you know Bob Saget?
Yeah, I met him. I didn't know him, but I did encounter him, and that was the story that I was alluding to earlier when I said we'd probably talk about it. Yeah.
Okay. So we can talk about it. But I will give you this part of it. His cause of death has not been determined as of yet. They have performed the autopsy, but law enforcement working the case said they are pointing to signs of a sudden medical emergency, such as a heart attack or a stroke. That is what they're looking at. And this is a big part of our check-in and check-up for your health with the American Heart Association. But they just said the way they found him with his hand, he was laying across his bed, one hand on his chest like it was at his heart. And so they're saying that it could point to a heart attack. And of course, further investigation or the medical process is in the autopsy will indicate in a few weeks or less what happens. All right. And did anybody have a horse in the college championship game?
I did not. No.
Now, emotionally, you want Georgia to win because Alabama wins all the time. And, I certainly spend more time in Atlanta than I do in Birmingham.
Yeah.
So, those are the little factors. But I did want Bryce Young, the quarterback, to win, so I was rooting for him. But then I was thinking about Georgia being an underdog. And then they kept saying Georgia hasn't won since Herschel Walker played. Then I was like, because Herschel's a
Right, right.
but I want to get back to the Bob Saget thing right quick.
We can't. We got to move on, but I promise we
Okay.
will. I promise
No
we
problem.
will. Okay,
No.
during entertainment.
No
I do
problem.
want to ask you the question of the day: what's really going on? And asking you guys, and specifically asking the viewers and the listeners, how are you doing on your New Year's resolutions? What were they? Or maybe you're still, pursuing them. What are they, and how's it going for you? I know that in our production meeting, Khameron, you had talked about a number of things that you had on your list that you are pursuing. But I was wondering for you and Damon if you all had made any promises to yourself, any resolutions of what you were going to do to enhance your lives in 2022.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still going strong on my resolutions
Of
wanting to read more, to be consistent with my home exercise. I posted a video the other day on my Instagram doing like some leg stuff. I started on my New Year's resolutions in the month of December, so I can already have a routine in January, and I can just ride the wave out. So I've been reading more, I've been exercising more, and I've been making a concerted effort to address things that I've been battling with since a couple journals ago, apparently.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I've been doing pretty good.
Okay. All right. Damon, did you make any New Year's resolutions?
Nah, well, one of my resolutions was to procrastinate less, but I haven't gotten around to doing my resolutions. So thank you, Sybil. Yep, January 11th. I still haven't gotten around to not procrastinating. Now, I just feel like some people need a change of the year to kick jumpstart or motivate them. But I'm pretty self-motivated. Plus, a lot of times when people do it, they just setting themselves up for failure because they're lying to themselves, and they always got a rhyme. I'm gonna get it done in 01. I got things to do in 2022. And at the end of 2022, you ain't do it the same ones from 02. So, so I try not to put myself in that predicament, so I don't disappoint myself. But I do have some goals, some plateaus that I want to reach in the year ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Anything you want to share?
I want to have a major production on BET to document a landmark for one of their TV shows.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's already been pushed up the chain. I just hope it gets picked up. And I'm also trying to establish writing a book or getting the book started. At least I have an outline, but I need to do that, and then find other revenue streams so that if the world shuts down, I don't have to be on Zoom telling jokes to 12 people in boxes.
With your Cash App name.
I didn't go that far. Oh God. I didn't have a curtain up behind me with the stage lights. And if you're having fun, put it into that. But this time around it might, because it ain't gonna be no more PPPs and unemployment this time. We're gonna be on our own. So y'all better just wear your mask.
Okay. And people are still, the number of cases being reported, historic numbers just on a daily basis. And so, he's absolutely right. For folks that are watching and listening, how are you doing with your New Year's resolutions? Rosemary Smith on YouTube says, date more? ? Is that a question mark for you? Or are you suggesting it to two of the single people here? Jackie Bryant said, don't make them. So it's going, she does not make them. So it's going to be great. She says that on YouTube. You don't make any resolutions. Our friend, right? Michael Stallworth, our friend on Facebook says, haven't made one yet, but it might be easier to make one since this Omicron/Delta winter wave burns out. That's another thing that we talk about in tomorrow's newsletter about the Deltacron or whatever they're calling it, and the fact that it was trending on social media over the weekend, but it doesn't appear to be
And the
in
Flurona.
existence. Right.
Right. Yeah.
That's another one. Dale on Facebook. Don't forget about New Year's resolutions. My goal is to make an album. Your goal, not a resolution. Your goal is to make an album. I love it. Gucci D, do you have any advice?
The record company game is shady.
But
No, that's a tribe called Quest.
right.
But no, I mean, yeah. Actually, if you're creative right now, this is a great time and a great time to be a creative, because you can definitely get your stuff out to the people on your own without a record label, without in our budget. You can go directly to the people. So yes, go for that album. But yeah, hopefully you have the talent to match your desire.
Yeah, and you find that a lot of people are showing a great deal of talent, because they have the time, they have the space, in order to stretch out and do things. Say, well, I got to do this, I got to do that, but everything for a lot of people is still at the house.
Yeah,
It's
home tech makes it possible.
yeah. Manuel Murphy on Facebook says, I've decided to not take calls unless I reached out to you. Tired of dealing with spam calls.
Hey, I had the warranty people kept lately the student loan been calling me, and that's ridiculous because I ain't go to school. But the warranty people were calling, and I kept hanging up on them. But now my miles are creeping up, and they won't call back. I'm interested.
I get the auto warranty. I get the some having to do with insurance, and I can't remember what the other one is. Do you get those, Cam?
I get the auto insurance one. I get a lot of like job recruiter calls, people saying, "Oh, we got your information somehow," and I'm like, "That's a little disconcerting." But yeah, they're just all so incredibly annoying. It's so hard to root them out too.
Well, I have the robot spam, the robo killer of the spam calls and things like that. So that helps some, but some of them sneak through text. And the latest things I'm getting via text is, "Hey, you paid your phone bill. Here's a gift certificate for you. All you have to do is log on to, or get into this website, and we'll send you your prize." And so it's secret shoppers. That's another one. And I forget what the your phone bill is really and don't hit it. Don't whatever you do.
That's what I'm trying to say. Tell all your seniors and your young people, do not click on those links, no matter how appealing it may seem, no matter how curious you are. If this you in this video, you know damn well it ain't you in the video.
Right.
Don't click on the video. People are talking about you. You don't worry about what people. Don't click the link, because that's how they get in, and they can drain your bank account and change your identity and all of that. Don't click the link. Yep.
Yeah. So if you haven't made a resolution thus far, that's a good one. Don't click on those links that come to you from people you don't know, or mysterious numbers and whatever. Oh, Denise Cuffey on Facebook says, my goal is to finish my second book about a particular cruise. All right. Okay. Well, Damon, nothing to say? A particular cruise. I wonder what that would be. A man named Guinier. I think I'd love to see the book once you have it finished. And
I just hope I'm not in it.
Well,
I had a year. I did have one. I think I had one time join a cruise single.
Yeah.
Even worse, I hope my daddy ain't in it.
I would love that. Yolanda, Debbie Boyd on Facebook, we want to buy your house. And I tell them this is a nursing home. Yeah, that's another good one. Or Nathan. I don't know why they call me Nathan, but some guy named Nathan has given them my phone number. So, Nathan, we want to buy your house. Nathan, you can drop 40 pounds overnight if you click onto this link and we can show you how. Nathan, we have, it's all of that.
Yeah, I
And
had somebody must have put my name or my number on a real estate site, and they kept asking me about the property for sale. I'm like, I do not own the property. Please stop calling.
right.
Or send in your deposit. Maybe I'll start saying that.
What you got? Lynn Sell on YouTube says, I get all of those. Got the one about having a job for me. I'm retired. Devil, you a liar.
Devil is a lie.
That's right. But people, and then they come back. Have you had this one? A friend of mine told me they came back and said, "Oh, don't retire. You're too good. You need to be up there and doing it. Send us your information and we'll get you a job. You can work from home. What's your address?"
Right.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Give us your
Don't
social
do it.
security number.
Right.
And give us your social security. Give us your bank account number, and we'll have some money in your account before you know it. I have not succeeded thus far in my resolutions. I always resolve. Sometimes I just stop and don't even make the resolution, but it's always my hope to be more organized, and I fail. But I keep trying. And even after the first of the year, like a lot of people, I resolved to make some changes around my birthday. And so, because that's the time I usually do all of my doctor's appointments and things like that. But in this case, the organization has failed miserably. And so, but I'm going to keep trying. I still got stuff that I'm trying to send out from the holidays and things like that. But here we are.
We got to give one another some grace. We've been in various
Look
stages of
at you.
isolation.
Oh, Yolanda Starks White is going to love you. Look at you.
Well, seriously.
With the grace.
We've been in isolation in various stages for the past 2 years. We have been told that if we walk outside and someone sneezes on us, we will die in 7 days. It's been a lot, and so trying to keep an even keel is an accomplishment enough.
You're right.
And
all that being said, that gave her more time to get organized. That's the problem. She got too much time on her hands to get organized.
And by the time I get through the day, I'm like, oh, sugar. There goes another day.
Oh, simple.
But let me tell you one other thing, and it's not a resolution, and it's not and it's not one of those spam calls or questions, in order to get you. But is anybody tired of the Instagram postings like, you play this music and in 2 hours your financial fortunes are going to change, or you play this song and or we go through or you look at your thumb and you'll see the initial of your soulmate.
I have heard those, and I'm like, man, that's why I got to stay far clear off these reels, man.
I am so, and they give you a magnifier and you put your thumb underneath there, and it's like, I see, that's the initial I see in the wrinkles in my thumb. In the lines there. Okay, well, Mr.
That is a Persian man named Zuzurzuza. He is a Persian prince.
Now you gotta say it. You gotta play it backwards, and then you'll have his name.
Okay.
Record it and play it backwards.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy, and then you go, oh, and then they flip through, will I find my soulmate? And it's sort of like the magic 8-ball, cloudy, try again,
Yeah, not to mention, I'm sure it's some way it's all created to harvest your info somehow. It's something to make you click onto something. Mm-hmm. Nobody's sitting around spending all the time to make these filters and effects for fun. I mean, I know Instagram wants to keep us engaged, but some of that stuff is tricky as well. So
yeah,
steer clear of some of those challenges.
I'm with you.
I read a book called The New Gym Code, where all of these social media apps, the metaverse, Google, whatever, they have an algorithm that proves that it's in our nature to search and quest for meaning. Mm-hmm. and they have us all in a profile in like a behavior science portfolio.
Yep,
So
that's right.
it's like
The
Damon said,
new
it's
Jim
all an
Crow.
effort to it's all an effort to like gather biometric data, and even it even measures how quickly we scroll from video to video.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. That's
yeah,
another
so
one. Yeah.
yeah,
To
so it's
see
like
how they can keep the people engaged. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Cameron, let's move to what you need to know because I really want to talk to you. It's time for us to talk about the newsletter, and I really want you to talk about the legacy of Lani Guinier, and tell people who don't know, and it's probably been 30 years since she was really in the headlines. But Lani Guinier was quite a woman, and this is Cameron's story in today's What You Need to Know newsletter. And for those of you who have not, please subscribe to it. It's still free in 2022. It's all free, and please give us your name and your email address. I promise we won't use it for anything else but to send you the newsletter. But it is it's a source of information on a lot of things that are pertaining to our African American community. So, all right, Cameron, tell folks who don't know, and I must say, people were even questioning my story when I was talking about it. In terms of the pronunciation of her name, that's how unfamiliar they are with Lani Guinier.
yeah, the same. I didn't know who Lani Guinier was, but
Hmm.
writing the article, I was pleased to get to know her through her legacy. Uh, she is most notably the first woman of color appointed to a 10-year position at Harvard. She's a heavily decorated civil rights activist, a voting rights activist, and has an extensive, successful career in public service. She made her mark joining the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund, where she successfully litigated 31 out of the 32 cases, which is record breaking and
Hmm.
huge. Her she developed a lot of political theories and philosophies on how to get underrepresented people more representation in our democracy. And it's awfully ironic that she passed away at this time where voting rights are under siege, where uh, underrepresented people are having their voices, their representation attacked. And her beliefs back then were considered very, very, very radical. But if
Hmm.
taken into a modern context, they could be a panacea for what's plaguing our democracy today. Most notably, Bill Clinton picked her as a nominee for assistant attorney general. Uh, but there was a smear campaign launched
Yep.
against her, calling her a quota queen, which is now really like a racist predicated term off of quote unquote welfare queen.
Hmm.
Bill didn't like the negative attention, and in an act of cowardice, he withdrew uh, her nomination. But since then, she has been known to um, try and come up with these alternatives to help our democracy. She even came up with a theory that's true to this day called political race, which purports that marginalized folks of different races and different denominations, their lived experience can point to inequalities in our system, which is what we're discovering to be true. But she is also a very eloquent speaker,
Yeah.
a very powerful woman, and it was an honor to really get to know her and research her for what it is that she has done.
I'm glad that you were able to get as much as you did out of this. I think a lot of people, like I said, were not familiar with who she was and what she stood for, and not the least of which, in a discussion that needs to be held, she died from complications of Alzheimer's, and at 71, which is
Mhm.
much too young, obviously, for in this day and age, for people to die. But of course, with coronavirus and all the other things that are going on, we don't know what led to her demise, but it was complications from Alzheimer's. And also, just in conjunction with that, another brilliant mind from Harvard. Charles Ogletree is the professor at former professor at Harvard. He too, if I'm not mistaken, is still suffering from Alzheimer's, and it just boggles the mind that, and I'm not trying to be funny, but to lose your capacity of
Yeah.
memory and cogent thoughts and all of this, and to be so brilliant, and the frustration and just the sadness of it all, just strikes me that those are two brilliant people affected by this awful disease. So Lani Guinier, thank you for all that you did. There were a lot of great supportive tweets and Instagram postings about her and what she meant to the lives of so many, including Kristen Clark, who is now sitting in that position that she was once nominated for. And Kristen Clark went through her own challenges to get to that job, but luckily enough, the road had been paved for her to get there. So rest in power there, Lani Guinier. I want to talk about our forever First Lady, Michelle Obama, and her organization, When We All Vote, had a full-page ad in the New York Times on Sunday. And in this ad, they said that we're going to get out there and we're going to register the goal with a number of other organizations. I think it was like 30 something organizations signed up to help in the goal of registering 1 million people to vote. They're also going to be employing 100,000 volunteers, many of them thousands of attorneys to help people in their if they have challenges to voting. And others are going to be, just guiding folks through the maze that now sits before us in our primaries for the midterm elections.
Yeah. They always.
I'm volunteering.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of those too. A lot, being in the field that I work in, her initiative has rippled nationwide, and so she's put out the call to action, and is well acquainted with how critical 2022 is.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention the Obama campaign was fueled by grassroots and door to door and individuals, not just so much corporate and campaigning. So they know the blueprint to get that done. Hopefully, people are still excited and energized and follow through with it.
Are you optimistic about the registering of people, Damon, just in Chicago alone, or are people, or just from what you're talking to people on stage around the country? Are you feeling any kind of energy?
I'm not feeling any talks or energy. I always bring up politics in my act, and I talk about the president and things about that we need to get done in a joking manner. But I'm not really feeling that vigor. Like even during the Trump and Biden campaign, even if he was on different sides, you can still feel the energy from both sides. But I'm not really sensing that right now.
What about you and the younger folks out there voting, Cam?
Yeah, a lot of the organizers don't get a lot of the media coverage that popular figures get. And I know people who are working around the clock to try and get folks out there to vote. It was just a couple of years ago where some folks I know in Chicago Votes got a very crucial piece of legislation passed that allowed people who were in Cook County Jail who had not yet been convicted, it allowed them to vote. And that's, considering how overcrowded Cook County Jail is, that's a couple tens of thousands of people, probably about like 15 people, or for 1,500 people. But yeah, so there's groundswell there. It's difficult because we're also siloed in these COVID environments, but people still understand that voting is better than the alternative.
But Khameron and Damon, let me ask you this: we are siloed in these pods and quads or whatever you want to call them. But it was far more dangerous. At least the transmission of the disease was far more dangerous in 2020 than it appears to be now from my perspective, and what kind of effect the Omicron is having on you as opposed to the Delta. But even as dangerous as it was, people were really more energized, I think. And I think that's why we have to come out even more forceful way in order to register people to vote. First of all, are you registered? And if you aren't, let's get you registered. If you are registered, um, let's confirm your registration. We need to confirm that. And also, Damon, we need to tell people where they can go, because so many changes and people are being knocked off the voting rolls. They're changing the locations of polling places and things like that. And then, of course, all the other ridiculous rules. You can't give them food or water or any kind of help, a place to sit while they're waiting, to
Yeah,
vote.
it's really, like you say, it's a maze. And I personally, I voted at my mama's house, no matter where I lived, over the last 30 years or so. So this past election, I went in for early voting, and you could go to any location for early voting. And once I did that, they discovered the glitch, and they made me vote out here in the suburbs. So now I can't vote on for Lori Lightfoot or not. But I was wondering, to Khameron, are young people even still engaged with the political process? Are they not disenfranchised or actually just not energized overall, from people you speak to or people you know?
Young folks are either, I'll go out and vote for the big offices, but I won't do any research for the other offices.
The locals and the statewide, not even.
Right. Yeah.
And all the judges get in on just how black their names sound.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. For real.
You look down the circuit court and say, okay. And they might not even be black, but if they have a blackish
if
name.
It's a Johnson, it's a,
all the Jenkins did not vote.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I remember last year I was up with my grandma, and they had these tools that let you, quickly research a lot of these judges, and we were going through every single one. And I did what you did, Damon. I just read off the names to her, and I said, "Grandma, do you want to retain Ricky Bobby Brown?" And she said, "Yeah." And I showed her the picture of him, and this is the palest, oldest, silvery white dude that you could ever see. And she was like, "Oh no!"
Whoa.
Yeah, there's a couple of Irish cats that got some nice ethnic names.
Oh yeah, yeah. So,
well, I hope we can do what we can to encourage people and keep telling them the necessity. I mean, we talk about the importance of voting, and yet we don't talk about it enough, apparently, without endangering the tune-out factor. So it's a balance there that you have to do, but really talk about the importance of our local elections. It's more vital. You're talking about the judges. You're talking about people that not just the mayor, but other offices that have great import to our communities, and wanting to put people that look like us in those places, because they have in many instances, they have a different perspective.
So when in general, when is the midterms for the major races?
The primaries start in March. The first primary is in Texas. And so we'll get you the list as they go through the states. But the very first Tuesday in March, I believe, is the Texas primary. So we'll get you those. I don't think Illinois is until the summertime. Or spring, but it's, for some reason, June sticks in my mind for Illinois.
I think it's June as well. Yeah.
Brian Scott on Facebook says, hopefully the hip hop community will write some rap songs for candidates in the popular races. For example, Grandmaster Flash wrote a song remember that, for Reverend Jesse Jackson's first run to becoming president of the United States back in '84.
Wow.
Yeah, Grandmaster Flash. God
bless.
Yeah.
That up later.
That worked out great.
But that was before Barack Obama. So
thanks, Brother Scott. We appreciate you delving into the archives, but we need to hear about Jay-Z helping Obama. Might be a better example.
Okay. and then Obama putting Jay-Z on his playlist that became so popular. Yeah.
And then Obama helping induct Jay-Z into the Hall of Fame. So yeah,
Man, how cool is that? Yeah,
yeah.
you're absolutely right. One more thing I do want to say before we leave the What You Need to Know newsletter. It's a great read for folks who are getting ready to put all of their tax information together. And the great Katrina Kraft, in her weekly article, talks about how to audit proof your tax return, giving you advice on that. So you want to take a look at that. All right. That is a look at our What You Need to Know newsletter. There are other stories in there that I hope that you will take a look at. And as we move into entertainment, okay, Damon. So speaking of entertainment, Damon, let's hear about you and Bob Saget.
It's too late now, Sybil.
I don't feel like it no more.
No. It's a timing thing. No, actually, I was shocked because like Guy Torrey used to do Fat Tuesday, which he's doing a documentary about.
Coming up
They
next
did,
month.
yeah, they did the Comedy Store documentary, but they didn't include Fat Tuesday, which is a major chapter of keeping that club open in the 2000s. And I did Fat Tuesday once, and I'm backstage, and I'm like, man, that's dude. I know him. That's dude. Full House. That's the guy. So I'm like, okay, I wonder what he doing back here because it's Black Night, super black. But he went up, and not only did he do well, he was so raunchy. I mean, we were all shocked. He was nasty with it, but it was funny. So then fast forward to the fact that, right before he passed, he tweeted out that he had just performed, and he said he was surprised he did a 2-hour set, and he said he's back addicted to the love of the game. And then he went and drove from Jacksonville to Orlando to his hotel where he was found, like I said, clutching his chest. And I was thinking, man, that's a way to go out for a comedian, except he was in a Ritz-Carlton. And I'm just hoping it don't happen to me. Like I'm just glad it happened to me this weekend because I had the same experience. Comedy kind of gave me therapy, but I was in La Quinta, so I don't. I would hate to be found dead in a La Quinta. So I got some work to do. That's gonna be in my resolutions. No more La Quintas in 2022, in case I have to clutch my chest and be found dead somewhere in the bed. Let it be a Ritz-Carlton.
Damon, that is some funny stuff right there. It kind of puts your life in perspective.
I'm like, man, it felt something had to happen to me, because I was relating to what he went through by experiencing that show. But then he went back to his Ritz-Carlton and called it a day. And I went to the La Quinta, so I got some work to do. And that's why we went home. See, they put us in this, and it's a La Quinta, whatever it is. When we got there,
it wasn't the Ritz.
It wasn't even a good La Quinta. So me and my wife, we was like, So we went to the show, and we came back, and we kept our clothes on for about an hour and sat there and watched a little bit. I watched the rest of the football game. Then we drove home that night. We didn't even sleep at the La Quinta.
Wow.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, because they obviously were not on their square as far as sanitary ways, because the first room they gave us, the bed wasn't made up. One of the beds was unmade. So I'm like, y'all ain't even been in here. So we was like, we going home. We went back to the house, and that's my Bob Saget, rest in peace. Very funny dude, man. And thank God that you were in a Ritz.
Thank God, indeed. Yeah. Can you imagine getting back out after however long he's been off the road and
staying in a La Quinta?
Yeah.
Because I can imagine
with an unmade bed.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
Man, and you and your wife were able to drive home and have great conversation.
Absolutely, a long talk on the way home, and it was beautiful. And that was my actual birthday night. That was the night of my birthday. So we kicked it. Yeah. That's
nice. That's very nice. Well, with that in mind, let's move to the Yogi's Jewel for the day. And we're talking about gratitude this week. And Yogi's Jewel goes as follows. Gratitude is the foundation of positive thinking. Gratitude is the foundation of positive thinking. Gentlemen, I am very grateful to have you both here and to have fun and engaging conversation every week. I really appreciate you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you all. Thank everyone for all the birthday wishes and everything else. And let's talk next Tuesday.
All right, let's do it. All right. Khameron, great job as usual. Damon, love it, love it, love it. And everybody, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys and being a part of our conversation and engaging with us. We really appreciate that.
Can I
and
say it?
Detroit, Saturday, the music hall.
I'm
Detroit,
grateful
Saturday.
you got that in.
Sunday, I'm in San Francisco, and Friday, I'm in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. So I'm hopping around.
Oh, cool. DMV.
No, La Quinta.
Cam, you have a close?
Aloha.